Okay, for this video, we're going to read the Constitution reading for Lesson 5.3. The Constitution. The Constitution, written in 1787, is the highest law in our land and the most important document in our history. It formed a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. It remains as relevant today as it was over 200 years ago. So how did such an important document come into being? When America declared its independence from England in 1776, the country had 13 separate states. Each had its own system of self-government. The states made their own money. They made their own laws. They worried about their own interests. The oppression from England united the states to fight for freedom. However, when the war ended, the states needed to find a new reason to remain united. They were free from England's tyranny. Now they wanted to remain free. Many did not want a strong central government. They feared this would put them back into the same oppression they had endured from England. In 1777, the states sent delegates to a convention to put together a plan for a unified country. Together they wrote the Articles of Confederation. These articles established a central government with a legislative Congress to make laws. For 4 years, the states debated these articles. Finally, in 1781, they were approved by all 13 states. However, the weak central government was doomed to fail. The articles failed to give the new government the power it needed to be effective. The government could not collect taxes or establish a military. It could not set up courts. It did not make the states obey the laws. The new government would be unsuccessful in uniting the states. During this time, the new nation was expanding, and the population was growing. The Northwest Territory was added. Daniel Boone was exploring the area of Kentucky. Industry was expanding. However, trade between states became more difficult. Each state had its own currency. Merchants and farmers wanted payments to be made to them in the currency from their own state. Gold and silver became the only reliable means of paying for goods across state lines. The economy grew chaotic. States began to tax each other. Trade and boundary wars ensued. The federal government was powerless to control the chaos. Then, in 1786, farmers in Massachusetts were unable to use the money they received for fighting in the American Revolution to pay their debts or taxes. A man named Daniel Shays united the farmers to rebel against the government of Massachusetts. Massachusetts asked for help from Congress. However, the government had no power or means to help the state. This event, called Shays' Rebellion, brought to light the need for a strong central government. The states were invited to send delegates to a meeting in May of 1787. They needed to discuss how to change the Articles of Confederation. 12 states, Rhode Island did not send a delegate, attended the meeting, later called the Constitutional Convention. During the summer of 1787, 55 men met at Independence Hall in Philadelphia. They discussed what could be done to create a strong central government. They elected George Washington as president of the meeting. Before long, the delegates realized that the articles needed to be abandoned. An entirely new plan for government was needed. This was not easy. There were many disagreements about how to set up the government. Smaller states wanted to be sure that they had as much say in the government as larger states. Some of the delegates wanted a leader elected for life. Others felt that would be too much like having a king. They knew that the government needed to unite the states, protect the states, and secure freedom for the people. However, there were many different ideas about how this should be done. Discussions and arguments ensued for months. Finally, the delegates were ready to write a final draft of the new Constitution. They chose James Madison. He took the notes he had during the entire conference and drafted the 7 articles. Madison was later called the father of the Constitution. The long hot summer of 1787 produced our Constitution. Once 9 of the 13 states held conventions and agreed to the Constitution, it became supreme law of the land on March 4, 1789. Private meetings, special committees, and secrecy gave us a strong central government. It created the United States of America, the Constitution. Now you'll see here that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 questions you need to complete. Please write those in the online text box. You can check out my online text box tutorial for that if you need it. And then you'll be finished for the day, okay?